Coming up on Tekzilla, gutting the 3DS and the iPad 2 with iFixit. Veronica talks Crashplan, her Mozy alternative for online backup, monitor reccos for programmers, and anybody else that can use more workspace, writing Photoshop, TiVo hacking, a better way to update AHCI, your ideas for hiding Veronica's grill, and the book of Steve Jobs. So grab a plate and pile on the barbecue, because Tekzilla starts now. This episode of Tekzilla is made possible by HostGator Web Hosting, Netflix, and Carbonite Online Backup. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
Welcome to Tekzilla, hands-on reviews of the latest tech and how to make the most out of the gear you've already got.
Whether you're a beginner or tech support for your friends and family, if you've got a question about tech or my favorite British sweets, we've got an answer for you.
And if we don't, we'll track down someone who does. Back from London, no Nuki Brown or a keg of John Smith's for the...
I brought back a few candies for myself. I love Cadbury and Sky Bars, which are easier to come by there than they are here.
What is a Sky Bar?
Sky Bar, it's a chocolate bar. It's got 4 quadrants. It's got caramel, fudge, vanilla, and peanut butter flavored fillings in each separate quadrant.
So you basically have a different taste experience with each corner of the world.
It's like a whole new candy bar in each bite. Can't really get them here though, but it was fun. It was a good trip. Nice weather.
Really?
We brought all the San Francisco weather with us to London.
Not the 4 weeks of rain we had.
No, it was like 65 and sunny the whole time we were there.
Veronica Belmont bringing sunshine wherever she goes.
Ding! Simon & Schuster announced Steve, the Book of Jobs, getting to the actual news today. An official Steve Jobs approved bio by Walter Isaacson. It will be published in early 2012. Apparently Isaacson started work on the biography in 2009. The Book of Jobs, the Steve's ego. It has no limits.
It's just like Steve.
Steve, the Book of Jobs. There was Icon was another book about Steve Jobs. And you can say Icon or Icon?
Some interesting announcements for Adobe this week. Yes, Creative Suite 5.5 is coming with lots of upgrades for content creators. Mostly a lot of support for iOS authoring and a new set of, these are really cool, Photoshop Touch apps for the iPad. Easel, which is essentially fingerprinting that you can send your creations up to Photoshop. Color Lava, Virtual Palette. And Nav, which is a navigation tool. You can create a custom set of Photoshop controls on your iPad.
Wow.
Android and BlackBerry versions are expected, but the new subscription payment model is the big news. Ars Technica says, for example, Photoshop, not extended edition, retail $6.99 for $35 a month. Design Premium Suite, $18.99 retail for $95 a month, and CS 5.5 Master Collection, $2,600 retail for US $129 a month. Those are with a 1-year commitment, and they say that money can go, basically the rental cost can go towards the purchase of a full license at the end of your year.
That's nice.
Yeah, I mean, having worked with various shades of legality on Photoshop in my distant past, I think it's nice that they're at least offering an opportunity. And also, by the way, if you're thinking about buying Adobe products or any major vendor's products, look for student licensing. It's shocking what kinds of discounts you can get if you look around.
Definitely. In its continuing efforts to break ARM's stranglehold on the mobile chip market, Intel launched a new set of Atom chips this week. The Z670, codenamed Oak Trail, is expected to show up in dozens of tablets this year, with the first model showing up in May. Devices using the Z670 are expected to run a full day on a battery charge, which is great for mobile products.
Yes, especially if you want to run an Intel processor and you want a workday out of your device. That would be nice. This week marks the 50th anniversary of the first human space flight. Yuri Gagarin made it into space on April 12, 1961. Fears of space madness induced by weightlessness meant the flight was controlled from the ground, and basically he had no access to controlling the capsule from space. They had no idea what was going to happen when the human body, when the human psyche got to weightlessness. They were a little uptight about that. USSR, uptight, control, it's kind of a tradition there. Gagarin instantly became a national hero, was blocked from making further flights, died in a MiG 15 crash during training in 1968 at the age of 34.
That is
They wouldn't let him go into space, but ironically, inclement weather and a MiG 15 training flight. And if you'd like to send me all of the theories of why Yuri Gagarin was killed by the communist government because he was too powerful or too big of a symbol, please vet him with Snopes first. That's all I'm saying.
Hold your emails. April 12th, the day after we shoot this episode, also marks the 30th anniversary of the first shuttle flight, and if the rumors are true, NASA will have released the names of the museums that will host the Discovery, Endeavour, and Atlantis by now. I feel all time and tense shifty.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, we're pretty sure tomorrow, the day after we shoot today, or by next week, by the time you see this.
Yeah, 21 museums will be competing for the shuttles. They all have to be ready to pick up a $29 million tab for decommissioning and moving the actual shuttles. And they have to be ready by December 2011 for the shuttle delivery on the back of a 747.
Yeah, can you imagine the plan for, like, you've got to land the plane, then you've got to get the shuttle off of the 747, and it's going to be, I mean, I want to see the video of moving these things to their final locations.
That'll be awesome.
Really awesome. Let's get our first email on.
Yes, Alias at Boston wants some monitor help. Hello, Tekzilla crew. I spend lots of hours a day coding, and some of my projects are growing beyond the point where I can handle the code on my 15-inch laptop. What screen or combination of screens would you suggest? Some screens have made my eyes sore or red. I probably have 3 to 6 files open at a time, 80 to 100 characters wide. Let's keep the option of one of the screens being half decent for gaming. Thank you. Elias at Boston. Okay, so let's be clear. A lot of this advice works for anybody that can use more screen real estate, whether it's programming, spreadsheets, Photoshop, video editing, what have you. You could fit a lot more spreadsheet on a 1920 by 1200 desktop monitor than you can on a 1280 by 800 notebook screen, that's for sure.
It sounds silly to say it out loud, but it's amazing. Like, we're talking about rows and rows and rows of information. The general consensus on monitors is summed up by one of our programmers here at Revision 3. The more monitors, the better. At least up to a point of diminishing returns, somewhere around 4 or 6, depending on how crazy you are. Both our in-house code mavens use a single 24-inch Dell flat panel LED LCD alongside the 15-inch or 17-inch screens on their notebooks. But I don't think either one of them would say no to a second 24-inch panel. I also pinged some friends at Program. My buddy Lauren said 3 monitors or 2 at a minimum, kind of aluminum, a widescreen, a center, basically a widescreen center wasn't a huge advantage for coding, but was a plus for gaming. 2 side monitors, 4x3, vertical rotated in the portrait mode to match the height of the center monitor is great for API docs and research stuff.
Yeah, pretty much every company I've visited that has a large programming or development team, they typically have one monitor, a pretty good sized monitor in the center, and then 2 24-inch monitors turned vertically on either side of that monitor. So they're just in a little wall. The big sort of upside down U shape. Yeah, but it works really great for coding because you can just have tons and tons of lines of data there. Lawrence was saying, like, left to right, app site, code debugger, and IDE API and docs. He likes to separate the different elements he's working on. Preston added, when I'm programming mode, I can get by with 2 1920 by 1080 LCDs, which is pretty inexpensive, all things considered. Though the widescreen format doesn't work very well for text. He says he actually finds himself using a single 27-inch Apple Cinema LED 2560 by 1440 on a 1680 by 1050 MacBook Pro over a symmetrical dual or quad setup of screens with vertical resolutions under 1200. So at minimum, he'd recommend going with 1 or more large displays. He is big on the 2560 by 1440 monitors, which are also expensive, or multiple, like 3, like 1920 by 1200 or above panels. He also recommends the monoprice desk mount brackets for Visa-compatible symmetric dual or quad setups. They keep the desk sexy and all CSI-like, he says. Nice. And it's kind of funny because there's been a transition from multiple monitors to some programmers I'm seeing are like, they want the one sort of monolithic panel. You know, I've seen people that have like basically TVs on their desk, and it's just a lot of looking around, I feel like. Well, 30 inches isn't too bad. At arm length, like a classic monitor, 30 inches, 42 I think doesn't work. 42 within arm's length is too much. My buddy Tom said, I like having one big screen, currently a 30-inch Apple Cinema display, which is a lot of cabbage, or they're expensive. 30-inch displays are still expensive. I generally don't have more than 1 file visible at a time, but often have either editor and terminal or browser and web inspector debugger console side by side. Tom says also some kind of tiling window manager is incredibly helpful with large screens. He's currently using Divi on OS 10, but it's not ideal, so he'd love to hear other recommendations for OS 10. Your setup keyboard shortcuts for specific areas of the screen, left half, middle third, full screen, etc. But he'd like a quick way to do smaller subdivisions on the fly without predefining areas. For example, one shortcut to specify the size, another to specify the location.
Ergonometrics, by the way, I heard all over the place.
Yeah.
Chair
has to be good.
Keyboard.
Footrest is actually surprisingly important. The first time I used a footrest, I was like, this makes a big difference in keeping your legs at a good angle, a comfortable angle to support yourself in the chair. So even if you don't have like an awesome air-on chair, you can still sit comfortably and ergonomically and spend hours coding. So that's important to have all those little aspects. If you're at a big company, they'll usually come do an RSI check on your workstation to make sure that you're doing it right and that you're okay and you don't need any additional stuff. As far as monitor companies go, I'm personally a big fan of stocking the Dell outlet, though Samsung, among others, offer really good glass at reasonable prices. Almost any LCD flat panel you buy these days should offer some decent gaming performance, so don't worry too much about that, I would say.
I'd also say the whole eyes turning red and getting ready to fall out of your face, you need to take a break like every 30 minutes. You know, you need to stop, refocus on something different.
Far away.
Yeah. Your eyes, the Gunnar Optics people, we're actually working on getting some of their glasses in for testing. Part of what they do with the Gunnar Optics is they kind of, they shift the focusing. Basically, your eyes are not designed to focus 3 feet in front of you. They're designed to focus like 20 feet out in the jungle searching for panthers so you're not eaten. So one of the things like the Gunnar Optics guys do is they shift the focal point so that your eyes think that the monitor is farther away.
I'd probably throw up.
You know what?
I'd probably instantly just
No. I'm doing a bad job of explaining this because if I can put the glasses on and not want to immediately vomit, you're probably good too. We're gonna get one of their tech folks on to talk about it, one of their engineers, because I thought the Gunnar Optics was a ridiculous concept until I spent like a half an hour talking with one of their lead engineers. And basically the problem is working on a computer is basically accelerating the destruction of your optical capability.
Dude, I'm just, making this more comfortable and better is all well and good, but the fact of the matter is people need 10 minutes to get out of their chair and stop coding for a little while each day, no matter how comfortable they are sitting there. It's just good for your brain.
Yeah, and also preserving your wrists.
Yeah.
I know several people, one in particular comes to mind, who literally, if they code for 10 minutes on a regular standard keyboard, the wrists will seize up and they won't be able to feed themselves for a week.
That's not good. So we'd say start with a monitor you can afford, like a single 21 or 24-inch panel. Try using it in both landscape and portrait mode with your notebook screen set to the left, right, or below, and see what you like.
Yeah. Start small.
Start small.
And then add on. Time to thank one of our sponsors, HostGator. Are you looking for a place to launch a blog or a website? You're frustrated with customer support at your current hosting provider? Go with HostGator and get up and running in minutes. Plans start at just $4.95 a month. You get top-rated 24/7 customer support, access to tools including a website builder with over 4,000 templates, and HostGator will migrate your current site to HostGator.com for free. Servers are 130% powered by wind energy. It is completely green web hosting with unlimited disk space, unlimited bandwidth, and a 45-day money-back guarantee. You don't like it, you get your cash back. And you get $100 in Google AdWords credit to market your website. If you're a Revision 3 viewer, which you are if you're watching right now, HostGator is going to give you 25% off your order or your first month for free. Go to HostGator.com and enter in the code TekzillaHD at checkout, and you'll get that fat 25% discount or a free month. Ever wonder how iFixit figures out how to take apart gadgets so you can repair them yourself? Teardowns is in meticulously disassembling them to figure out how they go together, what's inside, and how you can take stuff apart to fix it without breaking it. iFixit CEO Kyle Wiens joins us today to put two of the most interesting gadgets out there. Well, to tear apart, actually, two of the most interesting gadgets out there, Nintendo's 3DS and Apple's iPad 2. Kyle, welcome back.
Great to be here.
I was laughing. You were showing me like the AR cards for the Nintendo 3DS. And it's like, on one hand, it's like really cool, and on the other hand, it's like archery with the Nintendo 3DS. This just reeks gimmick to me.
You got to have this card, and you got to have it 14 inches from the device,
and I'm
then
shooting a little yellow box.
They overlay virtual little guys on your physical world, and then you shoot them.
I mean, I can see this being fun for about 10 minutes. You said this was a nightmare to tear down, so much so that we're not actually going to disassemble this on set right now so you can use it on the way home.
Yeah, so the trick with this device is that they've got the 3D LCD on top and then the touchscreen LCD on the bottom, and they've got all these cables routing back and forth between them. And it's really painstaking and meticulous to get in there and route the cables through the hinge assembly.
That sounds incredibly awkward. And there's 1, 2, 3 cameras on this?
There are 3 cameras, 2 on the back, so you can actually take 3D pictures. This is Nintendo's new thing, and then a camera on the front for doing video screencasts, that kind of thing. I've never taken apart a device with 3 cameras before. So that's kind of fun.
It's the future. I mean, pretty soon there's probably going to be like 2 front, 2 back on devices for like 3D video conferencing. This seems like it would be a nightmare to repair.
Yeah, we gave it a 5 out of 10 repairability score. So it's doable, it's time consuming. We didn't have a lot of fun taking it apart like we do other times, but it is doable. We have repair manuals for every other Nintendo product on our site, and we will be writing a repair manual for that. So if you break it, you will be able to get in and work on it, but it won't be easy or fun.
So iPad 2, more or less repairable than the 3DS?
The iPad 2 is even worse.
And we should probably start with, is it all about the glue?
It's all about the glue. So the Maker Manifesto says use screws, not glues, and Apple wasn't paying attention.
There's a lot of glue. Literally the entire Gorilla Glass bezel is glued down to the case. Yep,
it's glued to the case, the external of the case, and also the LCD. And so in order to get inside, the first thing you have to pull out is a hairdryer or a heat gun. You have to uniformly heat all the adhesive and then gradually pry the glass up, trying not to break it. And the first time that we did it, this is the first teardown we did, we broke the glass.
Do you think they glued it, did they do it to make it harder to get into, or did they do it, why do you think they glued it instead of using the clips this time?
The previous one had clips all the way around the edge. They got rid of the clips so that they could decrease the thickness of the iPad. They are shaving a 1/5 of a millimeter is huge, and so any way they can shave thickness, they're going to go after that. In this case, it means they're sacrificing the ability to get in and replace the battery, which means that the lifespan of the iPad 2 is about the same lifespan as this battery. Which is, lithium polymer batteries last about 500 charges. So you'll be able to use your iPad 2 500 times, and then you got a problem.
500 complete battery cycles.
Right.
Well, let's take a look at the back of the case. It seems like all the structural integrity in this is coming from that sort of like 5 mils, 1/4 inch around the outside of the case. They have routed, and it's, I should say milled actually.
Yeah, you can see the milling marks in the back of the case.
I don't know if you can quite see those on camera. There they are, all those vertical stripes in there. You can literally, it's almost like it was engine turned on the inside. Because there's just, it's crazy to imagine a room full of computer, I mean just the CAD CAM machines it must take to do this. And everything's glued in place. Those are huge.
This is a massive battery. The battery takes up most of the internals of the device. And that's the trend with Apple, is the iPad is really a cell phone board with a huge screen and battery attached.
And it's pretty crazy, right? Because there's just not much to it. You've got the speaker board,
which goes in here. And these are little teeny tiny speakers. There are 2 of them, but the iPad only puts out mono sound.
The dock connector.
Dock connector goes there.
The 7,000 milliamp / 25 watt hour 3.8 volt battery, and then the actual. This is the physical board.
Right, and this is the A5 processor, which has the processor. It's 3 layers. It has the processor and then 2 layers of RAM. The whole processor assembly, it's designed by Apple, but it's manufactured by Samsung, and it's Samsung DRAM.
It's essentially a modified ARM processor. I mean, and I'm seeing 1, 2, 3. Looks like 3 ribbon connectors and 1, 2, 3 other connectors on here.
Yeah, and you've got all these little, and these ribbon connectors are so thin. It's really phenomenal to see. This is the ribbon connector on the front-facing camera.
I can deal. These aren't too bad because they have those sort of snap-in-place ribbon connectors, but that's just a lot of tiny work to do attached to the board.
Yeah.
And does that go this way? It looks like, or the other way?
I think it goes the other way.
Let's see.
And then this here is your back-facing camera, and you can see the difference. The rear-facing camera is about twice as thick as the front-facing camera, and they need that extra space for a larger CCD and a bigger lens.
It seems like Apple's holding off to put like sort of a decent quality camera in their devices as long as possible.
Yeah, I think they need something to add into the iPad 3 next year.
And then you'll be able to do decent pictures. And I guess this one goes over here.
Yep. One in the center, and that actually goes. There's a hole in the glass in the display.
And you were actually, I think shocked is a good word for you, because you were basically pointing out how the glass and the LCD almost weigh the same, and the LCD...
The LCD is phenomenally light. It's very impressive. And the glass is still one of the heavier components inside the iPad. They shrunk the thickness of the glass to reduce weight, but that also reduces durability. This glass is easier to break than the glass on the original iPad. And
you can see this sort of felt gluing strap on the inside of that.
Yeah, and that felt is there to help prevent dust from getting in between the LCD and the glass. On the iPhone 4, the entire glass assembly is glued to the LCD, where this is just glued on the edges.
On my iPhone 3, I actually had dust get in there, so I'm kind of... I'm probably more okay with the glue there than I would be otherwise. This is going to be... I mean, as the iPhone 3G, the iPhone 3 was enormously difficult to replace the glass if you broke it. This is going to be worse, isn't it?
Yeah, although once you've broken the glass, it's not really a big deal to disassemble it and break the glass more. Right? So if the glass is what you broke, maybe that's not a big deal. Maybe we're working on a repair procedure for this. We will be writing a repair manual on it. We go through a few dozen different ways to get inside, and we're analyzing, our engineers are working on the best way to repair it. Once we find the best way, then we'll be documenting that.
So heat guns are your friend.
Yes.
Dear Apple, dear Mr. Ives, dear engineers, screws, not glue. We ask you so nicely. Kyle, awesome stuff as always. What is coming up on iFixit in the near future?
Well, we'll be putting up a repair manual for both of these devices, for the iPad 2 and the Nintendo 3DS, and we're also adding repair manuals for Android phones and PCs all the time. We would love contributions from the community. If you're taking something apart, take pictures, post it on the site, and teach the next person so they don't have to suffer through the pain that you did.
No one should have to rediscover the whole process every time. And we should point out, you're pushing iFixit as a community beyond consumer electronics, beyond Apple, beyond MacBooks.
Right.
I mean, you just mentioned the Android devices, but also everything from your washing machine to repairing the brakes on your car. Is that an exciting process?
It's really exciting to see all the sorts of things people are adding to the site. Somebody added a repair manual for their shaver the other day, and people are adding manuals for all sorts of things, because I don't know how to fix everything, and you probably don't know how to fix quite everything. And so the more that we can pool our collective knowledge, the better off we'll all be, and the longer we can make stuff last.
Plus, it's always nice to see vetted information with pictures rather than rumors on the internet.
Exactly.
Kyle, awesome stuff as always. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't checked it out, iFixit.com. It's an awesome site. They also have some awesome tools. You've seen us showing them off on the show. Check it out, people. iFixit.com.
Thanks to the iFixit guys, that was awesome, very, very cool stuff. But it's time now to thank one of our sponsors, Netflix. With more than 20 million members, Netflix is the world's largest subscription service, instantly streaming TV episodes and movies over the internet and sending DVDs by mail. Members can instantly watch thousands of titles on a vast array of devices, streaming TV episodes and movies like Microsoft's Xbox 360, Sony's PS3 game console, and the Nintendo Wii console. As a Netflix Unlimited member, you can instantly watch as many movies as you want, anytime you want, for one low monthly price. There are no late fees or due dates. As a new member and a Tekzilla viewer, you can get a free trial membership. Go to netflix.com/Tekzilla and sign up now. Be sure to use this URL so they know we sent you over there. Looks like it's time for another website we just can't get enough of. A website that we just can't stay away from because it's too useful, too funny, or just too darn irresistible. This week's pick, My Color Screen. Our mobile devices are an extension of our personality in a lot of ways. What apps we choose, what backgrounds, do we jailbreak, run Cydia, etc. My Color Screen takes this idea to the next level by allowing users to post their home screens for other users to see, vote on, and share. Right now, the site is primarily focused on Android and iOS devices and allows you to follow your favorite creators so you can see what they're working on next. Each screen, when you click on it from the homepage, shows you a description of what the creator used to make his device look the way it does, including what theme they have, wallpaper, whether or not they've jailbroken their phone, what widgets they're using, and more. You can see exactly how the theme looks on the phone they've installed it on in the image on the left, too, which I think is a much cooler way than just seeing a screen grab of the device. The site is still in beta now, but you can still access all the screens and information without being a member. Browse around, see the screens of the day, or view by operating system. My Color Screen bills itself as the place where technology meets art, and after seeing some of these creations, we have to agree. Check it out today at mycolorscreen.com and sign up for the beta. Jeff down in Hayward emailed us asking, I wanted to know what is the best online backup services out there. Are there, if any, that will support backing up from an external hard drive to the service? Thank you, Jeff from Hayward. Hey Jeff, so we've been meaning to do a rundown of online backup services for a while now, ever since I made the move from Mozy over to Crashplan. So I've been using Crashplan now for a couple of months, and I have to say that I am extremely happy with the service so far. It's been working great. They have different levels of online backup plans, starting at $25 a year for the 10 gigabyte plan to $120 a year for the family unlimited plan. They also have a free version that backups to your local stuff but does not do online backup. All the Crashplan Plus accounts allow you to back up external drives to their online service, and I've been doing this to back up my entire Aperture library from an external hard drive, which has been nice.
This is the part where we say with all online backup systems, they let you back up a certain amount really fast, and then they almost, not all, but almost all of them tend to taper off. Or do they?
I didn't really notice that.
Really?
Exactly. Yeah. So total, I have about 56 gigabytes worth of data on my Crashplan account, which is not that much in the grand scheme of things. I know other people have hundreds of gigabytes. It took a good 10 days or so for all of that to get up there.
That's not too bad.
It's not that, and that was intermittent. It wasn't like I had just because it's my laptop, so I take it to work with me.
Right.
It's not always connected to the external drive. The initial backup of just the hard drive contents on my laptop only took a couple of days. But then when you factor in the Aperture library, which is all giant photos, that took a bit more time. But it wasn't so bad, and I'm just happy knowing that I have that redundant backup. Actually, it's my only backup of the external hard drive where my Aperture library is stored. With the Family Unlimited plan, the one that I've been testing, you can have an unlimited number of computers, external drives, and friends can even upload their data to your account using a special code that they give you, and you can also use that as a destination. So it's
the first taste is always free.
There's tons of options and ways that you can do it. I've got a couple of machines hooked up there now, and it's been working pretty flawlessly. As for other services, Backblaze and Mozy allow you to back up external drives, while Carbonite does not out of the box. So you can work around that restriction if you mount that hard drive under the local C drive, according to Serafina, who apparently does just that.
Basically mount it and then point to it.
Yeah, I think that. Do you do that only do you do that on Windows or Mac, Serafina? Because I know Mozy has more, it's on Windows. I don't think that works on Mac.
Right.
I think that only works on Windows. I found Mozy software to be kind of buggy and very system hoggy and sometimes unreliable. And also with their recent change in pricing structure, it was a major turnoff. So that's why I went looking for a new plan. Patrick here promises to update us on how his backup plan testing is going soon. You just have a lot more data than I do.
Yeah, I mean, well, at this point, I'm still basically using Carbonite for some super critical stuff like the family photos and at the moment I'm kind of working on this sort of layers of backup, which is kind of like there's the stuff on our computers, the stuff on our server, a set of hard drives that are going to Robert Heron's house because he's in an apartment building that's fairly high and built
so cute.
on. Well, there's a possibility that the big earthquake could take out both his apartment building and the wee little craftsman I'm in, but. At that point, I won't really be concerned about whether or not, my movies are accessible.
I know. We'll have bigger fish to fry when that happens.
Well, literally, we'll be fishing and for sustenance and trying to find clean water.
We'll talk more about fish to fry later in the episode.
Yeah, I'm not even going near that one.
Fish to grill?
Fish to grill. Well, grilling.
Grilling.
And hiding grills. Terry sent us this question saying, I have an old standard definition TiVo that I no longer pay TiVo service for. That makes it a pay. I'm not going to make cruel standard definition jokes, but keep moving. Since it is a DVR in a TiVo software shell, can it still be used for recording analog cable TV? If yes, then how? Perhaps there may be some other uses for it too. Terry, doorstop, paperweight?
Doorstop, yeah, planter.
As Mr. HT Nation, I'm a little anti SD standard def.
Okay,
so
but
I should back away from this question right now.
That has no real bearing on this case, though. I mean, that's just what happened. What he happens to still have.
Which I am. Terry, it's awesome that you want to recycle a piece of electronics.
He's an early adopter of the TiVo. It was an early adopter.
There you
Think
go.
of it that way. So on the plus side, the TiVo Series 1, if that's what you in fact have, which I believe it is the most hackable of the TiVos out there. They've built a lot more protection into their software and keeping things in little like binary shells to protect them and whatever. So that's good. A good primer for learning the ins and outs of hacking your Series 1 TiVo is available at tivo.stevejenkins.com via TiVo Stevo is his name. This will show you how to do things like run TiVo Web, which gives you a web interface for accessing your TiVo. You can copy over files and programs via the TiVo FTP server, and of course switching out the hard drive for a larger one, which is one of the primary reasons people started hacking their TiVos in the first place. As far as I know, the hard part about actually using the TiVo as a DVR sans service is the scheduling files.
Or lack thereof, because you
lack
don't
thereof.
get the scheduling files without having the TiVo service.
That's what you get with the service, is the scheduling and then the ability for the TiVo to see when shows are happening and then thus record them. There are groups online that have created schedule files for using a TiVo outside the US, but apparently, and this is where it gets interesting, they're kind of secretive about them and who they give them to. And that's what I read online anyway. It's a little difficult to come by these scheduling files. So if you're really like gung-ho about doing this, that's what you're going to have to seek out based on what my research has told me.
It sounds like they may be getting the scheduling files from somewhere they don't want to talk about or be traced to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anyone in the audience has some information, I would love to see what you guys have to say. But technically, this also goes against TiVo's terms of use, especially hacking it to work without service. They kind of left alone people who were hacking it for more features, as long as they're paying for the service, because they were like, as long as they pay us every month, or as long as they have the lifetime thing, fine, whatever. But when you start taking away their bread and butter, which is the service cost,
TiVo fees.
they tend to pick up on that. Or at least they would get angry if they found out you did that. But I think you're probably safe.
Hey, it's time now to thank one of our sponsors, Carbonite. Look, you've heard us talk about it. You should know at this point, you will experience a computer disaster. Your data will go bye-bye. But not if you have Carbonite Online Backup, because if you do, all your irreplaceable files will be backed up automatically and safely off-site, so it'll be easy to get them back. And with Carbonite, you can access your backed up files remotely from any computer or with your iPhone or BlackBerry with a free application. Carbonite costs just $55 a year for unlimited backup for your PC or Mac, but when you use the offer code Tekzilla to start your free 15-day trial, you'll get 2 months free if you choose to buy. All the details are at Carbonite.com, and remember, use the offer code Tekzilla to get 2 months free with purchase.
Last week, we asked the Tekzilla audience for ideas on how to hide a grill from your significant other in such a way that it's still operable, just in disguise.
Dun, dun, dun.
And you had some pretty good ideas. At RickTendo on Twitter replied, "You can disguise the grill as a trash can. He never takes out the trash, so he will never find it." Oh, really? Well, he does occasionally take out the trash. The deal is, if I clean the litter box, he has to take the trash out.
That's not a bad deal.
It's balance. It's all balance. So that one might not work so hot.
You can put it up above the laundry. Does he ever do laundry?
He does.
Really?
He's pretty good with the household chores.
Wow, it's unusual.
Yeah,
I mean,
find
you know,
something
for the
he hates.
testosterone adult part of the species.
Yeah, well, another disguise was sent in by PC Doctor, who simply sent in this link to a toolbox grill, which looks pretty burly.
That might be a little, he might be wondering why you suddenly took up an interest in home mechanics.
Yeah.
Working on the car, Veronica?
Maybe I should get like I gotta think of something that we can keep outside.
Your toolbox smells like charcoal.
I don't know if this is gonna work.
Lanny sent in another disguise idea. Hide it in plain sight as the Death Star with this photo attached. While certainly awesome, this one's purely theoretical and doesn't actually exist in the real world, although one person was inspired by that photo to create his own Death Star grill DIY style. Speaking of DIY, Mark sent these instructions. Use a small whiskey barrel. Make a shelf that fits inside the barrel for the grill. Use a shallow bowl for flowers that fits the top and fill with dirt and flowers. When you want to use the grill, take out the bowl, fire up the grill, and enjoy. Just make sure the coals are out when done and reassemble.
Wow.
Would you need sort of a steel container inside the whiskey barrel? Well, no, a whiskey barrel will have the whole charcoal burned action. I'd still want to put something metal inside of it.
That sounds a little bit dangerous.
That's kind of a lot of work to hide this, but a good idea, Mark.
And finally, Dwayne had a few suggestions as well. He wrote in, "There's a Brookstone and West Marine in almost every city." I don't know what a West Marine is.
A West Marine is basically it's a chandelier. It's a place where you buy stuff for boats.
That's awesome. So it should be pretty easy to find good options. Also, any marine grill from West Marine will mount on a post or pinion and can give you a mini outdoor kitchen look at a fraction of the cost.
So to basically talk about stainless steel grills that are designed to go on the railings of boats.
Oh, I have a metal railing on my deck.
The only downside is that, they use a spin-on propane, which isn't too bad, but they don't get as hot as a full-on industrial-grade home grill.
Yeah.
But they are hot enough to cook stuff, especially if you're doing vegetables, which don't require super insane searing temperatures.
Well, that's
anyway.
the problem. It's the pescatarian carnivore. Omnivore pescatarian
I think
fight.
you can manage it.
Because he doesn't want his veggies and fish touching my burgers and sausage.
Oh. So, yeah.
You know how it goes.
You know what?
I'm not talking smack.
You
I'm
could
just saying.
keep kosher and get an apartment with 2 kitchens and 2 grills.
Can I just get 2 tiny grills?
Get 2 tiny grills.
Yes. That portable fold-up one looks pretty neat. Plus, then I could take it with me and grill and make steaks on the go.
You can keep the grill and the charcoal in the trunk of your car.
That's a great idea.
Just make sure the
like
grill.
a tailgate.
Well, yeah. Just. I'm going to walk out one day and see Veronica grilling a steak.
I'm going to be at the parking lot, like
3.
back behind the building, like, hey guys.
The trick is
How do
just
you
make
like your
sure
steak?
everything's
Medium
cooled
rare?
off before you put it in the trunk.
That's
Nothing
good.
more awkward
Yeah.
than a trunk fire.
Yes. In a recent show, we answered a question from Lucas about enabling AHCI in Windows. We said that the only way to enable it was to set it in the BIOS and then reinstall Windows. When the show aired, a cry rang out across the cosmos. It's as if 1,000 viewers all cried at once, "No! There is a way to enable AHCI without having to reinstall Windows. Just a simple registry hack."
Okay, so we missed it. Okay,
Yeah.
mea culpa. And
Yeah.
the next person who goes, if you knew how to look on Google, you'd have the right answer for this, loser.
Well, if we looked up all our answers on Google,
I'm
we'd
just
probably
saying-
find a lot more wrong answers anyway.
I'm just saying, if you're going to insult me in a really, really nasty way, don't do it with your corporate email, your corporate address
such a
and phone
noob
number
mistake.
attached,
Such a
especially
noob
if it's within
mistake.
driving distance of our office.
We know where you are. I'm just saying.
Hi.
No, but very, very valid points.
Absolutely.
I mean, absolutely. Lots of respectful viewers wrote in with the correct response.
And we should point out that we do our best to give you the perfect answer, but even we occasionally miss. We prefer to.
I don't know what that voice was.
I don't know.
Apparently, I'm not totally human.
And suddenly she started singing the theme from 5-Volt.
Yeah.
In any case, Microsoft has a support document on the issue. You can fix it in one of 2 ways. One, download Microsoft's tool and follow its on-screen wizards. If you're more adventurous, though, you can edit the registry entry yourself. Would you like to
Sure.
read the instructions?
So you want to exit all Windows-based programs, click Start, type regedit in the Start search box, and then press Enter. If you receive the User Account Control dialog box, click Continue, locate, and then click one of the following registry subkeys.
Which you can see on your screen because
Yes.
they're really long.
They're long, and I don't feel like reading all that. In the right pane, right-click Start in the Name column, and then click Modify. In the Value Data box, type 0, and then click OK. On the File menu, click Exit to close Registry Editor. Now, when you reboot, you make sure that you enable AHCI in the BIOS. And next to Kevin, Mike N, Anders, David, Bob, Russell, Cameron, and you know what this is going to take forever. That's a lot of people. So I'm done reading. Yeah.
Oh.
And we blame Roger for the mix-up.
On a serious note, if we do get something wrong, do us a favor, email us, Tekzilla@revision3.com, because we hate being wrong. It causes us agita and pain.
But you know what I do like?
What?
Blaming Roger for things.
Everyone needs
That
a
makes it
hobby.
all better. Gary wrote in with a question that has him hot under the collar. He writes, I have been enjoying your show for a couple of years on my Dell XPS M1330 laptop. I bought it with the NVIDIA 8400M GS graphics card. I generally use this laptop closed with my 24-inch monitor. After the GPU died a month ago, Dell replaced the motherboard under warranty. Nice of them. So now I have a brand new motherboard and 6 months left on my warranty. I'm concerned because the GPU temperature typically runs about 70 degrees Celsius at an idle and 85 Celsius plus under the load. I use Speed Fan to monitor the temperature. It's on a cooling stand with a fan blowing under the GPU location. It does run cooler without the external monitor. Am I pushing my luck using it with the external monitor? How hot can the GPU run and not self-destruct? I like watching Tekzilla on the big screen. Gary in Roseville, California.
It's so frustrating. We got some good news and some bad news for you. One, it's awesome. You're on a stand. You have a fan going on. I probably want to make sure the lid on the notebook's open to minimum. You just want to radiate as much heat as possible. Driving the external monitor isn't really the cause of your overheating issues. Poor design actually is probably the core of it. We couldn't nail down the exact operating temps for that 8400 MGS, but 70 to 85 degrees Celsius generally isn't considered extreme if you're talking about overheating a GPU, so don't panic. We have uncovered several websites with pages full of complaints regarding the XPS M1330 heating problems. And we've seen heating problems with GPUs in the past with other vendors. The problem apparently stems from poor thermal contact between the cooler and the GPU, causing that part to overheat. The chip basically, it can only take high heat for so long, you end up with a recipe for failure. Now, you mentioned a popular solution in your email, the copper mod. It's kind of hairy. You open up your notebook, you remove the thermal pad that sits between the cooler and the GPU, or actually I should say the cooler and the GPU, and you replace it with a thin sheet of copper and thermal paste. You're going to void the warranty immediately, and this isn't foolproof, as in you could screw it up. If you feel adventurous, you could attempt the copper mod yourself after your warranty is out. NotebookReview.com has a great step-by-step with photos on their forum. Seriously though, try running the laptop with the screen up still, when you're using the external monitor. If you're not already running it with the screen up, additional cooling might be obtained because basically the heat's coming through the keyboard and radiating up. It can be shockingly helpful. If you want to get it really freakish, you can start running a hand, like a fan over the top of the keyboard, and it starts getting really ridiculous. The bottom line is, like, Dell says the chip's defective. The chip designer probably thinks Dell didn't do as good a job as they could have. It may have just been a run of notebooks where they didn't properly join the heat sink to the GPU, or maybe the GPU pushed the heat envelope on the platform. Hopefully Dell kind of replaced yours with one that's not causing the big trauma. Again, 70 degrees Celsius like you're seeing should be well within the thermal envelope of the GPU. Keep the warranty and receipt close by. I would not try the copper hack until
warranty's out.
The warranty's out, yeah. And if it's running at 70 and everything's going good, I would probably avoid doing the copper hack if it was your only computer, because there's nothing more frustrating than taking a perfectly useful computer that's your only computer and rendering it non-usable.
Yeah, I mean, we take advantage of that a little too often here at the Tekzilla studios, but...
Well, sometimes we just make a mistake and hit a Pelican case with a sledgehammer 8 times.
I mean, who doesn't do that? That happens to everyone, right? But hey, congrats to our Play for Japan auction winner. The final bid was for $2,225, which is unbelievable. It jumped $1,000 in like the last day. It was just really exciting to see. We can't wait to meet you in person during our studio tour. He didn't give me permission to say his name, so I'm not gonna out him to the whole audience yet. But hopefully we'll have him in studio soon. If you didn't get a chance to bid, visit playforjapan.org to see what other auctions are still available. And thank you so much for taking the time to bid and to make a difference for the earthquake and tsunami victims.
Our audience, aka you.
You guys rock!
Darn Skippy. Hey, you want to keep us delivering the best in tech news, help, and how-to? Well, we need your help. We need your email, your video questions, your comments, your suggestions. Send them all to Tekzilla@revision3.com.
And of course, that's not the only way to interact with us. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Tekzilla. Plus, we're all on Twitter. We've got @Tekzilla, Robert Norton. Robert Norton.
That's a new one.
I think that's the second time I've done that, reading the Twitter
Patrick
things.
Norton,
Patrick Norton,
Robert Heron,
Robert
Veronica.
Heron, Veronica, Jolly
Tekzilla.
Roger, Serafina K. That is her thing, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I think so. Okay.
Serafina K.
We're all out there. Thank you guys so much for watching.
I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
Till next time, you've been watching Tekzilla.
I want to see a you hybrid Robert Patrick hybrid face.
Hybrid face vigor.
Yeah.
That might be, probably would look a lot like either one of us do it.
I think we can do that on the internet.
We'd have like one brown eye and one greenish eye?
No, it's just like a total amalgamation of your parts. That doesn't sound right. That's not what I meant.
Probably better than a Patrick Veronica amalgamation or Veronica Robert.